Hey guys, it's Crazy Comic Lady, and if you're new to my channel, hello! Thank you for clicking on the video, and if you're one of my old subscribers, thank you so much for sticking with me. I'm so glad you're still here and you've come back. So today I'm working on this itty bitty mini dinosaur kit. It's so tiny. This is from Diamond Art Club, and the artist on this was Pixie Sticks. So she's very nice. After Diamond Art Club showed that they were going to be releasing this on their Facebook page, I actually went over to Pixie Stick's Facebook page and I left her some comments and chatted to her about her Snow White art pieces, and she was just really nice. So she was a nice person. So I couldn't resist this kit because when it got released, it was actually heavily discounted. That's because there was actually an error on the sticker sheet that it came with, where they hadn't printed the right symbols on it correctly, so it was heavily discounted down to £15. I also had a discount, VIP discount code, so I ended up getting this kit for £12. How can you say no to a tiny baby £12 kit from Diamond Art Club? So that was that. So I've had a bit of a entertaining 2 weeks. I swear it feels like my birthday only happened 2 days ago, not 2 weeks ago. So I mentioned about those horrible nurses that had rung up and threatened my dad. So I actually got a letter from them and they couldn't even get my name right on the letter. It was like Miss J, and I was like, my name doesn't begin with a J. So when did I change my name, and did no one tell me I changed my name? So anyway, the letter basically said, it was lovely to meet you. No, it wasn't. We will not be offering you any more appointments at this time. Good, after the way you guys behaved. So at least the threats never amounted to anything, so I don't know why they had to be so nasty to my dad, because they couldn't technically break doctor-patient confidentiality anyway, because they were just nurses. They weren't even a doctor, so it was all just bluster and being nasty to a man with dementia for no reason whatsoever. So anyway, at least nothing has come out of that. I did get a lady rang me up to offer me a place on my cognitive behavioural therapy CBT course at the end of April, and I was in a bit of a state after just having those horrible nurses and everything ringing up that I told her about it on the phone, and she was absolutely appalled by the way these nurses had behaved. Completely appalled, because from her place at this mental health clinic, Mind Matters, that's where this nice person was from, she said that they have to take confidentiality so seriously, and they would never have gotten away with treating a patient like that at all, and actually told me I should report them to a company called, I think it was PALS, or no, PATS, which apparently is an NHS complaints service where you can report doctors or nurses who have been not acting professionally. But I didn't go ahead and report it. I think there's just too much else going on to worry about it. So that was the follow-up from the nasty nurse. Nasty nurse. Me and words today. Yeah, so what else has happened? So much has happened. When I had that, just was everything getting on top of me, and I rang my best friend, Verity. She actually she came round after work on the same day that I'd rung her in the morning, being all upset, and she was like, do you want a hug? And I was like, yes, I want a hug. And I was like, I'm not letting you go. I'm just gonna hug you and not let go. So that was just lovely. It was good to actually, I hadn't seen her since before Christmas, so it was really nice to be able to have a catch up. And she said, I know when you go quiet, it's because there's a lot of stuff you're dealing with. Yes, so that was really lovely. And I also had to get, actually, I'm going to start with telling you the story of how disastrous my experience with Diamond Art Club customer service has been. Because you see so many videos from people like that are affiliates and stuff of Diamond Art Club, and they always say, oh, Diamond Art Club's customer service is the best. They'll always be happy to help you. It's like, no, that has not been my experience at all. So back in February, they did this like special release thing where if you placed an order between a certain date, you got a scratch card with your order for a chance to win like up to $100 off your next purchase and stuff like that. So I was like, okay, I'll put in a small order because, you know, I can't not get a scratch card. So I placed this order. It was just 2 kits. It was the smallest order I've ever placed. I waited and I waited, and they came into the UK because I was following it on the tracking. And then for some reason it got diverted from London up to Rugby, so completely the opposite direction to where I live. And then the tracking information on it just stopped, completely stopped for after about 11, was it 10 or 11 days, I was like, okay, it says on their website that if I haven't had any tracking updates for 5 days, that I'm supposed to contact the sender so that they can put in a compensation claim and refund me. So I'm going to read you all the correspondences because I didn't talk to just one person at customer service at Diamond Art Club. I spoke to 3 because it was ridiculous. So my first message that I'm going to read to you, I said, hello, sorry to bother you. I know you're very busy. I'm just a little worried about my order. There hasn't been any tracking updates for 11 days. It looks like DHL gave the package to a different delivery company, Hermes. Their website says if there's been no movement for over 7 days to contact the sender, could you please look into this for me? So they replied with, hi Steph, thanks for contacting Diamond Art Club. We apologise for the inconvenience as we try our best to provide exceptional service. Some factors like shipping and handling are outside of our control, and issues like this can happen. Upon checking, there was an advisory from the carrier that states that due to severe weather conditions in some areas across the country, you may experience a delay with your parcel. We suggest contacting the carrier for further information regarding your order. Please don't hesitate to reach out if you have any further questions. So this weather warning, right, in the UK, we had like an inch of snow this big, and it melted after a day. It was gone. So it really wasn't severe by anyone else's standards at all. It's just UK. We have a tiny bit of snow, and then we go into like panic mode. It's ridiculous. But anyway, I then said, hello, we only had the tiniest bit of snow yesterday that melted in a few hours. The south of England wasn't affected badly at all. This wouldn't explain why there hasn't been any updates for 11 days. It says on the website that the parcel sender needs to make contact. I can't easily find a contact button. And then I went hunting and I found a contact button, and then I messaged them again saying, attached is a photo of the reply I got from the delivery company saying you need to contact them, because I found their online chat thing. Yeah. So then they replied and said, we went ahead and sent a follow-up regarding your order. Thank you for your patience and understanding. Please don't hesitate to reach out if you have any further questions or concerns. Always happy to assist. So that was my contact with Michael. And then I heard nothing for an entire week. So a week later, I messaged saying, hello, did you have any success in tracking down my order? My birthday is this weekend. I'm planning on placing a large order. Could I possibly have replacement kits sent along with this order? And they said, hold on, scroll. Right, they said, your package is already at their Every's hub. You may use this tracking link to track your package. You may also contact them here to know more about your shipment. And they gave me a phone number. Please don't hesitate to reach out if you've had any further questions or concerns. We're always happy to assist. So I rang that phone number. That phone number is completely automated. It says, please say your delivery number, like your order number. So I started with HO, and then it would cut me off and say, did you say HY? Is that correct? And I was like, no. HY. Did you say H something else? And it was like, oh my God, 5 minutes I spent trying to talk to this automated system who didn't seem to understand any of the letters I was spelling out. And eventually after 5 minutes, I kind of just said, let me talk to a real person. And then I just hung up because I wasn't getting anywhere. So I contacted them again saying, Yes, but they've lost it. I've already contacted them. They told me you had to contact them. They also said if there's been no tracking updates for 5 days to contact you for a replacement or refund. There's been no tracking updates for 16 days. That phone number doesn't connect to a real person, just an automated recording. I've already spoken to Michael about this. He said he'd look into it and get back to me last week. He didn't. So now I'm talking to a person called Angel. They replied again and said, got it. We're looking into this for you. We will get back to you in 24 hours. 24 hours came. 24 hours went. I heard nothing. I messaged again after I had first said, thank you so much. I really appreciate that. I'm sorry if my message came across as rude. I'm just very worried about my missing order. So then over 24 hours later, I say, hello again. You said you'd let me know in 24 hours if you'd had any success with the delivery company. Kind regards, Steph. They replied, now I'm on to a third customer service guy. This time I'm pretty sure it was Joshua. Oh no, this was Angel again. Right, we coordinated this with the carrier yesterday and still haven't gotten any response from them. We will let you know as soon as we hear back from them. Please don't hesitate to reach out if you have any further concerns. Right. No, I think that was Joshua. I'm getting so confused. Anyway, I then messaged again saying, I really do appreciate this, but this is exactly what happened last week when I first contacted your customer support team and we got nowhere. Their whole system seems to be automated. I've tried twice to lodge a complaint about it with Every, and twice they gave me the same message. We'll look into it and email you. Can you please just refund me and I'll repurchase the kits this weekend? I've attached photos showing the replies I've had from them and the information on their website saying that you, the sender, can put in a compensation claim. I'm sorry to be a bother. It's just been quite upsetting, feeling like I'm going round in circles. The sad thing is I only placed that order so I could get a scratch card. Right, so they then replied with, hello, Steph, we're sorry for the inconvenience. However, we have to go through the process of locating your package first. Once it's deemed lost, that is the time we can issue a refund or replacement. We'll let you know as soon as we have any information. Please don't hesitate to reach out if you have any further concerns, etc., etc. That was Robert. That was Robert that messaged me on that one. Right, so over a week later, I message again saying, hello there, I was just wondering if you've had any success locating my missing order. I've spoken to 3 people at your customer service over the last 4 weeks and I've now purchased replacement kits. Is it possible to be refunded for my order, blah, blah, blah? And this is the reply I get again. Thank you for contacting Diamond Art Club. Unfortunately, we cannot issue a refund yet as there is a tracking update regarding your order. The tracking link that I'm looking at is here. Please don't hesitate to reach out if you have any further questions or concerns. And then I said, there has been no tracking updates since February the 26th. Nothing has updated for 4 weeks now. Their website says to contact you if there have been no updates for 5 days. There has now been no tracking updates for 27 days. Finally, we're starting to get somewhere. Right, so my message that I got back from them was, we apologise for the confusion. I've refunded you. Finally. Please allow 3 to 5 days for a refund to be processed, etc., etc. I was like, finally. But, I mean, just before that message had come in, I'd gone to PayPal because I was going to lodge a claim with PayPal because, you know, well over a month since I'd ordered this stuff. Usually whenever I order from Diamond Art Club, it turns up in 10 days. It's never taken longer than 10 days. So I was positive that this kit was missing. But it's the fact that I had to message them so many times and I had to go through the same thing every single time when all they had to do was just scroll down to read the previous replies and see the previous photo attachments that I'd already sent. But boy, that really put me off ever wanting to buy from Diamond Art Club again because that just seemed insane. It's like, how long does it... Yeah. Anyway, that wasn't the end of my dramas because I also had a problem around the same time with my first DIYmoon shop order that I'd placed back in December. So I'd waited 3 months for my DIYmoon shop order to turn up. It finally turned up and I was really excited to kind of start it because I was like, I've been waiting 3 months for it. I want to start it. So I started it on my birthday, got it out, kitted it up. And before I'd even placed the first drill on that canvas, I'll show you what it looked like. It was Sailor Moon by Cherryuki. I love her artwork so much. So I'll just show you what the picture looked like. Right, that's what it was. This beautiful little Sailor Moon canvas. Yeah. So anyway, before I'd even laid the very first drill on the canvas, I looked at it and went, oh no, this is not good. There'd been like some horrendous printing error on it. You could not see the symbols at all. It was really, really bad. So the lowercase T looked just like the lowercase R. They were on the same color background. The lowercase E and the lowercase A looked the same because they were so blurry, you just couldn't identify them. And the X and the J symbols were so badly printed, you couldn't see them at all. You had to just kind of squint at it and try and work out like what the symbol actually was. So I was like, oh no. And I put a message up on a Facebook group and said, is this usual for their standard quality of kits? Because DIYmoon Shop is like one of the most expensive diamond painting companies that I've come across. So the quality of it was worse than what you get off Amazon for a fraction of the price. And so anyway, the people on the Facebook group said, no, it definitely should not look like that. You should contact them. So I contacted them, and they were not very good. They were like, well, we could send you a replacement kit, but we really don't want you to wait for it. Here's a $25 gift card. I was like, well, that doesn't even cover half the cost of the kit. I mean, the kit was so bad, it was just giving me severe headaches. It was so awful to try and work on it, especially during the evening if you're not using natural daylight. Just couldn't work out the symbols at all. It was so miserable. So I was like, well, can you just refund me for it? Because this is giving me a headache. I can't work on it. And they just went complete radio silence. They didn't reply to my message at all. So I was like, well, I guess I'm going to have to keep working on it then, because they weren't very willing to send me a replacement kit. They've ignored me completely when I've asked for a refund. I don't like waste, so I'll continue on struggling with this kit. And then eventually, the more I got through it, the more I was like, this is just, I don't know if I can finish this. It's so bad. So I messaged them again saying, can you please just send me a replacement kit then? Because I can't work on this easily. So they were like, yeah, we'll send you a replacement kit out straight away. And I was like, well, I'm going to end up waiting forever to get this replacement kit. I might as well keep going on the bad one that I've already started laying drills on. And then it only took a week for the replacement kit to turn up. So, why did it have to take 3 months at the beginning to get my first kit when the replacement only took? Anyway, I unwrapped the replacement kit, and the printing isn't much better than what I had on my first kit. It's a little bit better, but it really wasn't great at all on the replacement kit. And the replacement kit didn't come with drills. It was literally just the canvas, and I'd already done half of the other rubbish kit at that point. So I was like, well, I can't now work on the replacement because I've already started the first one and I've used up half the drills. So I had to continue on with the bad kit. So my replacement canvas is now just sitting in a box. My thoughts are I might just buy replacement drills off the internet somewhere and super bling it out, and it will just be a fun experiment project kit to do in the future. That's my thoughts anyway. Keep hearing noises outside my room. I don't like it when people are lurking. So that was my disastrous experience with DIYmoon Shop's customer service. And I also had an issue with the only other company I've ever bought from, which is the one with the diamond art. So I mentioned it in a previous WIP and chat that there was this beautiful fox canvas that I really wanted, which had kind of gone out of stock. They discontinued it. And I'd messaged them saying, is there any chance you maybe have this kit hiding somewhere? And they were like, yeah, we'll send it to you. So they found it, and I waited, and after 4 and a bit weeks, I'm like, are they gonna, I paid for this kit, and I also paid for another kit that they'd had in their discount section. And I know they'd had a death in the family, which is why the shippings and everything got so delayed. So I completely understood that. But then on their Facebook group, just spilled drills everywhere. On their Facebook group, I saw that kit I'd bought in the discounted section had come back on the website. And I was like, well, is this like a different kit maybe? Or have they just literally, over the course of the month, forgotten that I paid for this little bubble goldfish kit as well, and I've forgotten and relisted it. So I sent them a message, and they were like, we're so sorry. They had forgotten that I'd already purchased the kit, and they'd gone and relisted it on the website, so they took that down straight away. But it did mean they had to ship stuff twice because they'd forgotten, and they'd shipped out my fox kit that I'd paid for, but they'd forgotten about the bubble goldfish, so they shipped that one out separately. It was all good. I really love their customer service. The one with the diamond art, they're a UK-based company, and their customer service is fantastic. They're really, really good at replying to you. They're really sweet, they're very kind, and I also placed another order on their website, and that turned up, and it came with a free little diamond painting bookmark, which was so sweet. I was like, ooh, and it had candy drills as well, those sort of crystally looking ones, so that'll be fun to do, because that was a nice little free gift that they sent. So that was at least one positive customer service story as opposed to the other companies. So I'm kind of leaning towards more, depending on how the one with the diamond art kits actually turn out, I might just kind of switch to just using them, because at least I know their customer service is really, really good if there's a problem. So yeah, I think that's my diamond painting news. So in other news, I was supposed to be starting this new medication, I think called something like hydrochlorox something or other. I can't reach the box to get the name of it, but anyway, before you start that medication, it's supposed to be like an arthritis, and yeah, mainly an arthritis medication that can help with hair loss. So before I started that anyway, that medication can have a side effect of really damaging your eyes, so I had to get an eye test, to get a baseline eye test before I start that medication. So finally, after 4 months, I finally had enough time to, that was the day before my birthday, I booked in my eye test, and I went to that, and like my stepdaughter finds it hilarious that for the last 15 years I thought blurry vision was normal. Because I remember when I was 12, I had my first eye test when I was 12, and they told me I needed glasses, but my dad had kind of gone, no, she doesn't, she's not having glasses, it will make her eyes worse. So I just thought, okay, well in that case, you know, my dad's word is law. If he says I'm 12 years old, and if he says I'm not supposed to have glasses, then I don't have glasses. So I just assumed that these blurry visions that I got when I was a kid wasn't just normal. Because my eyesight is so much better than my mum and dad's eyesight anyway. So anyway, I went to this eye test, and they went, yeah, you have like no close distance vision in your left eye and rubbish long distance vision in your right eye. So your two eyes are conflicting with each other. I've got an astigma in both eyes, which is what's causing the headaches that I get all the time. And they also said that my eye muscles are really, really weak, so my eyes can't focus on things like towards you. If you like move your finger towards your nose and stuff, the eyes are supposed to move into the middle so you can focus on things. So that yeah, so it was just hilarious, and my stepdaughter found it hilarious that for the majority of my life I thought blurred vision and headaches were normal. I just thought it was an EDS thing, and wasn't actually an eye thing. So anyway, so I know now, and I've got some glasses, which was quite difficult to get them to like fit right because they kind of like hurt the back of my ears. So yeah, anyway, I've got some glasses now, which I should have had a long time ago, 20 years ago. So at least, you know, that's one thing. We've got the baseline eye test. I can start taking that medication now. So what else happened? Oh, we had a guy who knocked on the door. He just came around, knocked on the door and said, "Can I buy your cars?" And I said, I pointed to the one that doesn't have the MOT, that's still worth quite a lot and only has 4,000 miles on it. And I said, "Make me an offer." And he turned around and he said, $3,000. And I said, no. Last time I'd looked, like a couple of years ago, that car was still worth 16 grand on Auto Trader, and that was at the beginning of 2020. So we're like, no, I'm not taking 3 grand for a car that's got like no mileage on it. And he was like, "Oh, well, I guess there's no point me leaving my card then." And I said, "Nope, bye." So, you know, my dad called him a chancer. But it's because the cars are now so gross with so much mould growing on them that they look really run down when actually on the inside they're immaculate. It's just the outside where they haven't been maintained very well since COVID and everything. So, right, what else happened? Right, so my birthday, I'd had a couple of friends were going to come around. My friend Verity and Sam, who I also haven't seen since well before December. They were going to pop in for my birthday after they'd done church, because I wasn't feeling up to going with them to church. I haven't been to church since before Christmas. I don't go because I'm religious. I go because I love the singing. I go for the singing, and I know it's very important to my best friend Verity. So during the sermon-y bits, I actually just started reading the Bible from the very beginning, so that I can be like taking an interest in something that's really important to her. And, you know, there's no harm in just understanding what people believe in and what's important to them. And I like to take an interest in what's important to my friends and whatnot. So, yeah, I haven't been to that to church since before Christmas. Just because things have just been so manic. So anyway, they came around on my birthday. And also because my birthday was on the same day as Mother's Day this year, my brother and his wife and my nephew came round as well. I'm not good at the best of times with big groups of people. My dad struggles as well. He actually took himself away for like the whole of their trip and just took himself into the other room and avoided it, because it does get so loud. Because my brother's wife, she's very loud. She's very sort of, it feels like she likes to be the centre of attention the whole time, and she will just talk so loudly that no one else could carry a conversation over her or anything. But what kind of really upset me on that day, because things had been so busy in the morning, all I'd had to eat, it was 4 o'clock in the afternoon, all I'd had to eat was 1 slice of birthday cake. And my mother had been given this hamper, this Mother's Day hamper. And I'd already said to Mum, "Can I braid it and pinch a sandwich or something?" And she was like, "Yeah." So anyway, I went over and I pinched this little tiny mini sausage roll. It was only like this big, tiny little sausage roll. And then my sister-in-law then starts yelling, "That's not for you. You can't eat that. Those are your mother's." And I was like, "Okay, I'm hungry." Like, my mum hadn't heard any of this going on. And then because it was Mother's Day as well, I was talking about my stepdaughter and how she usually on Mother's Day she always makes me a card and everything. And then my sister-in-law again was going, "Well, that doesn't count. Stepmothers doesn't count. You're not a mother." And I was like, "Okay, I don't like arguing with you at the best of times." So I was like, "I don't care. It's enough for me." With all my health issues and everything, the chances of having a child myself are actually pretty low, because there's a very high chance of miscarriages and stillbirths in people who have Ehlers-Danlos syndrome. So I've been very, very grateful that I've been part of my stepdaughter's life for as long as I have, because when I first met her, she was 6 years old. She's going to be 13 this year. It's crazy. So I've done all the bedtimes, and I've done the bedtime stories, and I did the mother-daughter bonding thing and taught her how to use sanitary towels and things like that, because she doesn't have a good relationship with her actual mother. And, you know, I've been the one where sometimes, like, if she's not sure what she's done wrong and her dad's been angry that she's said a certain word or something, like, she'll have quiet words with me and say, you know, why was this a bad word? Why couldn't I say it? And and things like, what does this word mean, like a different word, and because she feels like she can talk to me without judgment. And then if it's, you know, something that's kind of important, I will then quietly tell my partner later on. But he always says that he actually learns more about his daughter's life through me than through his actual daughter, which I just think is hilarious, because she talks to me. I mean, when she was really little, she knew I loved foxes, so she asked her grandmother to buy her this fox onesie, and I was like, oh, you look so cute in it. And she was like, can we cuddle on the sofa? This was when she was 6. And I was like, yeah. I said, and I kept calling her my little fox cub, and she absolutely loved that. And we had cuddles on the sofa. Sometimes when Aiden like falls asleep when we're watching stuff in the evenings, like it will go past her bedtime, and I'm like, yeah, I'll just let you stay up because your dad's asleep. I never let her stay up more than an hour past her bedtime. She's always, I was like, yep, gotta go brush your teeth now, it's time. And, you know, she'd do her shower, and then she'd recently just cut all of her hair off, actually, but it was well below her bum. She wanted to donate it to a children's charity, cancer charity, for wigs. So she got it cut really short, but when it was really long, it was really difficult for her to manage because it was so thick and super knotty. So I'd be there doing that. It would take an hour to brush the knots out of her hair. It was quite bad because her hair was just so thick, and she kind of tended to just put it up in a ponytail and then never brush it, so it would get really knotty, like underneath near her neck. But I just, that really upset me what my sister-in-law said, because I'm like, as far as I'm concerned, she's mine and Aiden, she's ours. And I hadn't said anything to Aiden, but when we'd taken the dogs out and we'd escaped the madhouse and everyone had left and everything, we took the dogs up the park. He actually, before we got out of the van, he turned to me and he said, that was so out of order what she said, what your sister-in-law said. He was actually really upset about it. Like, I didn't realise he'd be quite as upset as he was. But I was like, yeah, because it was pretty out of order, because, you know, I've been a second mother to this child now for over 6 years. It's, you know, she's known me over half her life, which is crazy. It's amazing how quickly she's growing. Like, just because you're being around her all the time. Like, I remember being that age and thinking, I'm never going to grow up. I'm going to be a kid forever and never be able to do anything by myself. I remember feeling that when I was her age. And now that I'm an adult and I'm watching her grow so quickly. Like, in the last 6 months, she's gone from kind of a, you know, the 12-year-old kid to a really young lady. It's amazing. It's just incredible watching the way she's progressing so quickly. So so anyway, that was a bit upsetting. And but anyway, we had some birthday drinks, and we've been watching. We've finished it now, but we were watching this game show on Netflix called Ultimate Beastmasters, and that is a brilliant drinking game. Every time they fall off, you drink. It was funny. That was quite fun. And what else happened? My stepdaughter, she was actually at her mother's that day because it was Mother's Day. But she made an excuse that she needed to come and pick up a glue stick to do her homework, which was at her dad's house, Aiden's house. So she popped in very briefly on my birthday in the evening just to say hello. So that was cool. But it also felt very, very hectic, very busy, very exhausting. So then I had my very final managing emotions course in Leatherhead, and Aiden had the day off work for that one, so he brought the dogs with us to that. Well, he wasn't allowed in, obviously, but he like hung around with them outside and walked them around and stuff, because everyone at the course had been really excited to meet the doggos. Yeah, so everyone loved the doggos. Apparently, while I was in there, the younger, our puppy, who's not really a puppy anymore, he just turned 1, he did a poo, and then my dog Cassie went and stepped in the poo. Apparently that happened while I was in, so he was like, oh, and he had to try and force her foot into a puddle to wash it off. And my dog hates getting her feet wet. She absolutely hates it. She'll jump over puddles to avoid standing in them. She hates the rain so much. So yeah, that went all right. What else happened? Oh, I'd asked, when I was getting so overloaded with stuff the other week, I'd asked my uncle, who was in Portugal on holiday at the time, if he would come and visit us when he got back from his holiday, to kind of help me with stuff, because it was really starting to mount up, like trying to take care of my parents. And just ever since getting ill at Christmas, I have been so ground down, so tired. It's been I've just been almost non-functional with not being able to mentally cope with getting things organised and sorted out and stuff like that. So I'd asked him if he would pop down, and he said he was going to pop down. He'd intended to pop down anyway. Yeah, and I'd sent him a link to all the whipping chats I've been putting up on YouTube, because it's sort of like the fastest way to fill people in now on what's been going on, so I don't have to like try and type the same reply to like different people who are asking what's happening. So anyway, he was going to come down last Thursday, and I'd stupidly told my sister that my uncle was coming down, my half-sister. I've got a half-sister and half-brother. They're both on my mum's side, and my uncle is on my dad's side. So unfortunately, my sister went and told my sister-in-law, the one who told me off for eating the sausage roll, and that being a stepmother doesn't count as being a real mother. My sister had gone and told her that Jeremy was coming down to try and help with organising things, for example, cleaners. So that didn't go well, because then I got just bombarded with messages on WhatsApp saying, why didn't you ask me? Why didn't you come to me for help? I know cleaners. I can organise it. I've got a friend of a friend who's a cleaner who will come around for £17 an hour on a Monday. I'll book that in for you, and going on and on and on. I was like, okay, just give me the contact details. I'll look into it, compare prices. We've already got some suggestions that like social services and various NHS people have already sent me. I was like, just send me the contact details and I'll look into it. But no, she just went just completely the other direction of, no, I'm going to organise it, I'm going to get them to come, and just on and on and on. And even when I stopped replying, my phone was just going ding, 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 ding. So I actually, for the first time now since last August, I actually had a massive panic attack, just because there's a right and a wrong way of dealing with stuff and my family, and that is to try and not let them feel like, especially with my dad, let them feel like they have control and things are done in a calm and orderly manner, which is why I'd contacted my uncle in the first place, because he has known my dad his whole life. He knows the way my dad is and the best way to handle things with him, which is why I'd asked him for help and not my sister-in-law, because my sister-in-law, I tend to use the impression of a bull in a china shop. She means well. I absolutely 100% know she means well, and there are times when her attitude and things are a massive advantage, like when we were selling the family business and trying to deal with lawyers. Having Claire in our corner for that was fabulous, because she just wouldn't let up and would bug these lawyers until something was done. Drink time. Sorry, that was a long drink. So yeah, I had a massive panic attack, and like I just couldn't breathe between the tears or getting the words out, and just got angry. And I had to ask my mum, can you please ring Claire and deal with this, because I can't, this is too much. I haven't got any control over it, and I don't know if this is the right thing to do. I have no idea who these cleaners are. I still don't have any idea who these cleaners were. But to keep the peace, Mum went and said, fine, let's get these cleaners. We'll accept your cleaners. That was a flipping disaster, because they turned up the other day. I'm losing track of what day of the week it is. I keep having to ask people, what day is it? At the moment, today is the 30th of March, and I think it's a Thursday. So anyway, they turned up on Monday, and we took them around the whole house. They were really miserable. Like, one just would not smile the entire time. They were just really miserable, really talking to each other in Polish and not to us, or acknowledging us. We took them around the house and showed them everything that we'd wanted, at some point to get tackled. And we said to them, where do you want to start? And they said kitchen. And one of the main things that we desperately needed doing was the inside of the window, because my mother is so fragile now that when she climbs up on that, I'm really scared that she's going to fall off and hurt herself, because she's so unstable when she's cleaning the inside of the window. So anyway, we started them on that. Ironically, before they'd even turned up, Mum had had a panic and gone, I'm going to have to clean the whole house. So she'd actually started cleaning the house anyway, because she didn't want the cleaners to see the house in such a mess, which I thought was absolutely hilarious. So anyway, the cleaners turned up, they tackled the kitchen, we kept out of the way, and I was dealing with, I was dealing with Diamond Art Club customer service at the time, and replying to emails, and dealing with organising of gardeners and handymen and stuff. So when they came down, they'd asked for the money, paid them the money, and I hadn't gone and looked to see what they had done. And I said to Mum, did they go do a good job? And she said, no, it's awful. And I was like, oh, really? And I went in and I looked and went, oh my God, the windows are now more smeared than they were to start with. There's these nasty, like, I don't know, specks of dirt or something that seem to be stuck on the glass that won't come off. Those weren't there to start with. And there was a massive scuff mark up the fridge. And Mum had then started having to re-clean the tiles, because they'd done such a poor job on the tiles that she was then redoing it after they left. And they charged us £51. They hadn't even done a full hour and a half of work. They originally said they were going to come and do 3 hours, and they said, no, we're going to come do an hour and a half. They did about an hour and 15 minutes and then packed up and left. And Mum was so upset with them. I was like, I don't ever want these people to come back again, because they'd been scheduled in to come back in a couple of weeks. And I was like, oh, because now I have to go back to my sister-in-law, because I don't have any contacts for these people, and say, and I told her, you know, they did such a poor job, etc. Mum really doesn't want them to come back. And my sister-in-law goes, oh, you should have given them free reign to do whatever they wanted and start wherever they wanted. And they always make my friend's house absolutely spotless and do a fantastic job. And it's like, we gave them free reign. We asked them where they wanted to start. We took them around the entire house to show them all the stuff of what would they like to start with. They chose the kitchen. They did a terrible job. They didn't stay for the full hour and a half, and still charged us £51 for a terrible job that then had to be redone. And it's like, oh my God. So now the windows are worse than they were before. And I'm back to square one of now I have to go through the whole route of getting the cleaners, which my uncle was originally going to help me with to start with. So that was that drama. When my uncle came down, it was actually really brilliant. Especially, you know, my dad was still not dressed when my uncle turned up. He'd actually gone and he'd stayed with my cousin, his son, because his son is part of the police in London, but living in Basingstoke. And so he was helping his son look at these new flats and things that he was going to move into. And then he came down to us, because, yeah. But it was so good just being able to, I got all of my notes, because I'd had so many notes from all these different dementia people and clinics and nurses and everything. It was all written on like scraps of paper, all jiggled up, backs of envelopes I'd written on. So I'd found like every single note I had. I located all the emails that I'd had, and I sat down with my Uncle Jeremy and we went through everything of what do I have to worry about, what should I be doing, do I address this? And some of it was like, no, this isn't something that needs to be addressed now. We can put a pin in it and come back to it in a year's time and then reassess. Anyway, it was so useful, and I managed to get my dad to agree to selling one of our cars, that one I told you that's got no MOT and it's got only 4,000 miles on the clock. Finally, I was like, that's good. Finally, we're going to get some progress, because it's got no MOT. It's sitting there depreciating in value. It's covered in mould. We do not need this many cars anymore, considering that my dad's the only one that can drive, and none of us like him driving now anyway, because of, not that he's very safe. It's just we're worried more about him getting lost, like the Leatherhead disaster where he forgot to come get me and then got lost, and then, yeah, all of that fun stuff. So that was, I really felt like finally, okay, good, we're making progress. My uncle was on the case, and after he went back to Wales, he spent the whole of, was it last Friday? The whole of last Friday he spent ringing people to try and start getting stuff in motion, like especially car garages, and trying to find us the best possible deal for that car. He spent all day, he spoke to 8 different garages, and he got us a really good price. And so I was talking with him, and we got this guy to come around and have a look at the car. So anyway, this guy came around and he gave us a really good price in the end. He said he'd give us 12,200 for it, as it was dirty without an MOT. And I was like, that's better than we buy any car. So like, yes, we'll accept that. I'd spoken to Dad, he agreed, and then the next day Dad decides and changes his mind, and he gets really, really upset, and he's like, I really don't want to sell the car. And I don't like being the bad guy, and I don't like my dad being upset, but at the same time, we've got a car now that's not being driven, hasn't got an MOT, it's depreciating in value, and it's growing stuff on it. It's realistically, you've got to look at it at a logical point of view, because I don't think he doesn't think in that sense anymore. So he was getting really like, I really don't want to sell the car, I hope this guy doesn't pay. And I was like, well, I can't really, we've already agreed to the sale, we can't really back out of it. And yeah, so I got really upset and had a bit of a meltdown, and I rang my uncle, and he got really angry because of course he'd spent hours trying to find us the best possible deal and someone to take this car. So he was not very happy about that. I'm not very happy about that. My mom's not very happy about that, because now we don't want my dad to be unhappy, but at the same time we don't need the extra worry and expense on a car that isn't getting driven, that only has 4,000 miles on the clock and is immaculate like new on the inside, because we just haven't used it. Last time we properly used it was when we went and get our new telly after the old one stopped working, and that was like maybe a year ago. That was the last time that car got used. There's absolutely no point in having 2 cars that aren't getting driven. So anyway, it just put a lot of upset, because I finally felt like, okay, we're getting on top of stuff, we're getting stuff done, and then we suddenly go backwards again, because Dad he's like he's forgotten that he agreed to sell it, and now he's not thinking rationally, and we're going back in circles again. So we're still waiting for the guy to actually pay the money. Apparently he's been really sick, the guy who was going to buy the car, which is why he hasn't sent money over or organised to come collect it, but we shall see. I mean, if he doesn't pay, then Dad gets his way and gets to keep the car for a bit longer, but it just seems so pointless at this point. So that was that, and then my uncle had also organised this guy to come and quote for the garden, Francesco. So he turned up, and immediately, like, my dog loves people, absolutely a huge people dog. She loves them. She loves, she loves people more than she loves other dogs. But this guy, as soon as he came round the side, she growled at him and then ran away. So that is so strange, because she'd never, it's like happened maybe 3 times in 7 years that she's ever taken a disliking to someone and actually growled at them. I mean, she's not aggressive, she's just like, yeah, I don't like you, I'm going to bark at you. But yeah, she just didn't like this guy, and then he was really pushy, and he was like, he didn't even know what putty was, because we'd mentioned about the shed windows needing reputtying and everything. He was like, oh, I'll just paint them for you. It's like, well, we can't paint them until we've got the windows reputtied in, because all the putty's falling out. And he was like, what's putty? So okay, and then he was getting really, really pushy with the lawn, saying, oh no, the whole thing needs to be redone and returfed and reseeded, and top layer of soil put over the whole thing, and you have to keep the dog off it for 3 weeks. And I'm like, we were just wanting you to come and do weeding and mow the lawn and do the edges for us to take some of the strain off. And he was like, no, and then I'll pressure wash all the driveway and get all the moss out, and I'll take away all your green waste. And I was like, okay. So he sent the quote through and he quoted £1,048. Like, no, we just wanted a regular gardener to come and do the weeding and because like for the last few years I've been doing all the garden and maintenance apart from the lawn mowing. Whenever I try and put the lawnmower around, my dad comes and steals it from me. He's like, no, this is one thing he does actually do. He'll never like volunteer to go and mow the lawn, but if me or mum gets the lawnmower out and we start, then he comes and takes over. So anyway, we were like, that quote is ridiculous. And on the quote, they charged £200 just to take away the green waste. It's like, one, we've got a compost heap and we pay for garden waste removal from the council anyway. What? Or we could just have a bonfire for free. Like, why? We don't need to be charged £200 just to take away some weeds. So we're like, yeah, no, don't like him. So my uncle went back on the hunt and he found someone else who came round. I think that was a couple days ago now. That was Alex who came round, the second gardener, and we liked him. He said cash in hand will come twice a month, 75 quid for an hour and a half, twice a month. You pay us at the end of the month. And he seemed really nice, so we're like, okay, we'll book you in. So I think that's happening Monday, that he's going to come and we'll see if he's any good. Yeah, so we got that sorted, and my uncle found us a handyman, Handy Andy, his name was actually Andy, to come and quote for repairing our sheds, because our sheds are like pretty much, they're so rotten. Like he looked at them and he stuck his pencil in the top of the wood and went, yeah, that's completely rotten. Do you want this replaced? I'm like, yeah, quote us for replacing all the rotten wood. Fix our wooden gate that's like you try and open the wooden gate round our side and yeah, the entire post it's attached to moves with it. It's pretty bad. And we've got the paint already for the sheds and we've got the putty, so he's going to do the puttying and repaint the sheds and replace the bits of wood that are disintegrating. Should be good. I'm just waiting for the quote to come through on that. Drills everywhere. So I'm really glad I'm doing this tiny diamond painting, because I like to do 4 finishes a month, just because my stash now has gotten so ridiculously large. Like, I've got a problem. When you start moving money from your savings account into your current account so you can buy more diamond paintings, you know it's an issue. So I've put my foot down now. I'm not buying any more. Most of my wish list now on Diamond Art Club is out of stock. And if I work on 4 a month, it will take me a year and 2 months to get through my current stash if I continue at the speed I'm going. But after that last DIYmoon shop kit, the Sailor Moon one, that was so miserable to finish. I was like, oh, I don't want to work on it because it's so hard to see the symbols on it. It was just miserable. The whole experience was miserable. I was like, it took way longer than it should have done to complete that kit. So I was like, well, I want to get one more finish in for the month of March so that I can hit my four per month thing. So I picked out the dinosaur. Nice little dinosaur. Like, it's strange actually. These smaller kits, actually, they came with a completely different toolkit. Like, usually, like Diamond Art Club, they send you like these really big trays and a cover minder, and they usually give you wax that's inside this little container. Yeah, they just sent like loose wax, and where's the baby tray they sent? This like baby tray that isn't actually even, like, it doesn't even sit flat, it's all curvy. So baby tray, it's way smaller than the big tray. Just loose wax and no cover minder, no washi tape. So I'm not sure if maybe they did that just because they knew they were heavily discounting this kit anyway. So they didn't want to waste money by putting in the cover minder, perhaps, and the washi tape. But yeah, anyway, I just thought that was interesting to know. This is my first tiny kit I've ever done. So, because a lot of the time I don't think like the rendering looks very good on their smaller kits, and I'm very selective about rendering and everything, and things looking pretty. So yeah, where had I got to? Right. Oh, I was just looking at my little list of notes of what had happened the last 2 weeks. So my birthday, right? I told you that we'd been drinking, watching Ultimate Beastmasters. So every time they fall off, you have a drink. So I was quite drunk on the way home. When I got home, it's like midnight or something, because my partner lives literally just up the road from me. It's like a 12-minute walk. It's not very far. So we walked the dogs like halfway home and then split ways so that he didn't have to walk up the hill again. Anyway, so I got home and my feet were really hurting because I got these terrible chilblains. And I went into the bathroom and I was like, I went into the downstairs toilet and started taking off my socks because my feet really hurt. But for some reason, because I was very, very drunk, my brain defaulted and thought that I was upstairs getting ready for bed in the upstairs bathroom. So I started taking off all my clothes. So my bottom half was completely naked by the time I realised, hang on, no, I'm downstairs. I'm going to have to carry all my clothes upstairs. So I was like, okay. No one's awake. It doesn't matter that I'm butt naked now from the waist down. I will go and quickly make myself a drink and a snack and then I'll go up to bed. And then, of course, as I'm pouring my drink, my dad appears in the doorway. And he's like, what's happened? And I'm sitting here like, I'm standing just butt naked, waist down, completely naked. And I'm like, yeah, I forgot that I was downstairs and started taking my clothes off. Yeah. And I was like, I hope your dementia works in my favour and you don't remember this tomorrow. And of course he remembered it. He couldn't remember why I was butt naked standing in the kitchen, but he remembered that I was butt naked standing in the kitchen and found that hilarious. I was like, oh, come on, the one time your dementia needs to work for me. God, talk about embarrassment, but never mind, 35 years ago he saw me completely butt naked when I came out into the world, so... That's, yeah. Right, next story. What else has happened? Yeah, I didn't find my course in Leatherhead, my managing emotion course, like the final session of it, I really didn't find very helpful because I couldn't find ways to like kind of, I don't know, like, what's the word? Like adapt it to my lifestyle. Like their tips and tricks for kind of managing like anxiety and panic and stuff like that. A lot of the stuff just doesn't work when you're disabled. Like, so I was having issues with like the final session of just, I can't apply this to my everyday life. And so hopefully when I have my CBT training at the end of April, that's just a one-on-one thing. So hopefully we can just address things more. Because with me, I don't know half the time, is it my health that's stopping me doing stuff or is it just my anxiety? A good example was last year I went, my friend they'd been living in Germany and they'd come back to see their family. We've known each other since since we were born, so, pretty much 35 years. And we had this gaming thing that we did at a pub. We just took some board games and drank, and I knew I was feeling not great to start with, but I just thought, it'll be fine. We're going and having fun. And then by the time I'd gotten home, I was just in tears because I was in so much pain. So sometimes I don't know if, like, is it just my anxiety stopping me? Or is it actually because I know my body isn't working? But it's become very difficult to tell the difference of if I go to something, am I going to end up in a mess because my body can't handle it? Or is it just anxiety and nerves? I struggle now because I'm in pain all the time, all day, every day. It's very difficult to know what is going to be too much until I'm doing it and then I realise it's too much. So what else has happened? I'm still remembering the butt story. It's just funny. I think we're really near the bottom of my list of things. It's just been so busy. Yeah, so the very final thing was which happened, was it yesterday or day before yesterday? Tuesday, whatever day Tuesday was. My dog got sick again. So she used to get wee infections all the time when she was still intact before I got a spayed. She was getting horrific phantom pregnancies. and stuff, as in she was leaking milk and she'd get very unpredictable and very sad, and you could tell she was in a lot of pain because she didn't want to move. So that's why I had to get her spayed in the end. When I did get her spayed last year, I actually asked them when I went to collect her, it's like, do you still have her ovaries? Can I look at them? And they were like, no one's ever asked us this before. And they went and got her ovaries and showed it to me and held them in their hands. And I was like, oh, wow, are those the little cysts? Because her ovaries were just covered in cysts. And I took a photograph of it. And I was like, yeah, I just found that so fascinating when I got a spayed, being able to see my dog's ovaries and be like, so that's what's been causing all the trouble. All these phantom pregnancies that keep getting worse and worse and worse. So yeah, because she'd be in season, she'd have her phantom pregnancy and like immediately afterwards, almost within a few weeks, and then she'd then immediately get wee infections. So, you know, every 6 months I was spending a fortune on vet's bills because of these constant reoccurring wee infections. So after getting her spayed, we hadn't had any at all until this week. And I think with having all the cleaners here, Cassie was outside quite a lot in the damp when the cleaners were here to keep her out of the way of the cleaners. And our puppy is now becoming a full-grown young adolescent boy who's very interested now in girly parts, specifically my dog's girly parts. So now she's gotten, the vets decided it was actually cystitis what she's got at the moment rather than actual infection. But we now need to really keep an eye on this puppy and stop him licking her down there, because that was a £97 vet bill. And it was a busy day as well, because we had to go to Pets at Home to get stuff for my budgie. So I'd left Cassie at home because I thought, like, it's fine. She's fine being on her own, whereas the puppy isn't fine being left on his own. So we took the puppy with us to Pets at Home. They were actually filming a series of training videos in the store for their website. So I don't know if we'll like get a feature on that or anything. And then of course, Obi, the puppy, decides to pee all up the cat food. And we're like so apologetic, and they've actually got a cleaning station for accidents just like this. So I cleaned that up and got piss on my hands, and that was the second lot of piss I'd had on my hands today, because when early in the day I had to catch a wee sample from my dog Cassie to take to the vets. So I had Cassie pee on my hands and Obi pee on my hands that day. Then we had to go over to Roker's to get the frozen dog food that I'd get for Cassie, and Obi decides to take a massive shit on the floor in Roker's, the pet supply place. And it's because they had this fake green carpet like grass in the dog toy section, and he just thought it was grass, and he then pooed all over it, and it was gross. And we cleared that up, and then he decided to then cock his leg and piss up this box that was right next to where he just pooed. And it's like, oh my, for crying out loud. So we're dealing with 2 lots of dog piss and dog poo, and the embarrassment of it happening in shops. It's like, this puppy is a year old now. It should not be pissing and pooing in shops. It's like, how embarrassing is that? This puppy's a nightmare though, I swear. So I think that's the end of my news. I'll probably have this finished in a few hours, so I might very quickly pop on and just be like, hey look, I finished it, and show it to you. But, or maybe not. Anyway, to wrap it up for today, I'm going to quickly show you a video that I took up the park the other day of the doggos. So you can actually see what this puppy looks like. Okay, so here we go. Hold on, I'll put the volume up.
Never go straight under, he's too tall.
And that's pretty much the end of the video.
Right, got playtime over.
Anyway, I thought, I've been talking about the puppy so much, you guys should see the puppy. So people, we keep calling him a puppy, and yet he's huge. He was like 27.5 kilos when we took him to get weighed the other day, and Cassie is now like 25 on the nose. So it's just, he's huge now. Like, from the tiny little anorexic thing that we got, he was very, very malnourished when we got him. He was like close to death, which is why we ended up feeling sorry for him and saved him. But my gosh, has he been just like the worst dog we have ever owned. Anyway, that's also a story for another day, because there's a huge story about how we ended up with that blimmin' puppy. So anyway, thank you so much for watching. Sorry it's been a bit of a manic, I don't know, everything's manic, everything's hard work. So if you made it all the way to the end of the video, how about a dinosaur emoji? Is there a dinosaur emoji? Leave a dinosaur emoji in the comments and tell me how your week's been, and I hope you're all doing well. I should have said that at the beginning. I care about how you guys are doing. And I actually went through a lot of my comments, and because I don't look at my YouTube very often, so I went through all my comments just earlier, and there were comments from like 2 or 3 years ago with people saying such really nice things. It's like, I wish I'd seen those comments 2 years ago when I really needed to see them. So anyway, thank you so much. It really means so much to me that you guys have stuck it all the way to the end of the video. I'm really amazed if you have made it to the end of the video, and I'll see you guys soon. Bye!